Isang masayang pagbati na may ngiti sa aking mga labi. Naghahanap ba kayo ng makakatuwang sa pag-review ng inyong anak? Meron yan sa DepEd. Ang ETUlay online tutorial ay libre at handog ng ating kagawaran sa pangunguna ng OUA ICTS EdTech. Ito ay isang proyektong makatutulong sa mga mag-aaral, katuwang ang mga magulang o kasama sa kani-kanilang tahanan para masagutan at maunawaan ang mga modules. Hangad din ng programang ETUlay ang matulungan ang ating mga guro sa kanilang mga blended learning classes. Ang ating ETUlay ay mula kinder hanggang senior high school. Bukod sa academics, meron din tayong mga special programs gaya ng All is Wellness, Reading and Math Remediation, Storytelling, Mommy Tech Talks, Classes sa Gramatika, Speech Class, Financial Literacy, at marami pang iba. Pinalawig din ng ETUlay ang ating Alive program para sa mga mag-aaral mula grade 1 hanggang grade 3. Gayun din ay mayroon tayong ALS program at SPED tutorials na makasisigurong makakamit ng lahat ang inclusive education. May SPED hotline na rin para sa inyong mga katanungan patungkol sa special education. Kaya, subaybayan mula Lunes hanggang Biyernes, mula 9:00 ng umaga hanggang 7:00 ng gabi ang ating ETUlay. Sa ating pagtutulungan, maiaangat natin ang bawat isa. Ating itutulay ang pagkatuto upang di mapigil ang pag-aaral ng kabataang Pilipino. Itulay natin ito, sulong edukalidad.
Mabuhay! Isang mapagpalang araw sa ating lahat. Ako ang inyong lingkod, Tutor Madge. Welcome sa ating ETUlay, ang ating libreng online tutorial na hatid ng ating kagawaran ng edukasyon, ICTS EdTech. Ang programang ito ay inaasahang makatutulong at maging karagdagang kaalaman sa mga mag-aaral mula kinder hanggang senior high school, ALS, Alive, at SPED learners. Bukod sa pagsagot ng mga modules, ang ETUlay ay may mga special programs din na siguradong aabangan ninyo araw-araw. Katuwang ang ating mga minamahal na mga magulang at guro ay maitutulay natin ang pagkatuto. Kaya, ihanda na ang inyong module, lapis, papel o kwaderno. Ihanda rin ang isip, mata at tenga sa isa na namang makabuluhang aralin. Tayo nang matuto kasama ang inyong volunteer online tutor sa oras na ito.
Yes! Good morning, everyone! Kumusta po? Sana po ay okay po kayong lahat, no? It's Friday once again, no? And it's online. ETUlay na naman po tayo ngayong araw na to. 11 o'clock hanggang 12 o'clock, you will be hearing from me, Tutor Bell, no? Every Friday, 11 to 12. Yan, no? So for today, no? Still on Java programming tayo. But before that, shout out ko muna po yung ating mga live viewers, no? Sa Facebook, sa YouTube, no? Diyan lang po kayo at tunghayan po natin today, no? Ang isa na namang makabuluhan na tutorial regarding Java. So for today, it's December 3, 2021, no? For quarter 2, week 3. Ang bilis, no? So quarter 2, week 3 na po tayo. And we will be discussing the if and if-else structure in Java programming. So ano ba yan? So later, malalaman po natin kung ano yan. Yan, no? So, for quarter 2, week 3, so let me give you an understanding of what a pseudocode is, no? So, kasi bago tayo magpunta dun sa if-else structure, we need to understand ano ba yung pseudocode, no? At ano ba yung mga different tasks using a flowchart. No? So we will make decisions with the if and if-else structure, and we will be using this multiple statements in an if or if-else structure. No? So yan ang ating objectives for today. So let me ask you, no? Which path would you like to take? No? So lahat tayo merong patutunguhan. No? So ano kaya? Saan po tayo patutungo? Will that path, sabing ganyan, dapat daw yung path na yan will always make us happy. No? So mamaya kaya pag nag-if else na kaya tayo, magiging happy din kaya tayo. So yan po, no? So may kinalaman kasi po yan sa ating topic for today, no? Yan, no? So we are all heading to a certain path in our own lives, no? Pwede tayong pumunta sa left, pwede tayong pumunta sa right, pwede tayong dumiretso, no? Diretsong daan, sabi nga ni former Noy Aquino, no? Diretsong daan, meron siyang diretsong daan. Okay, so we are treading our own path, no? Yan, no? So, when we are treading our own path, no? So, laging mayroon niyang start, no? Laging may start at merong katapusan, no? Merong finish. Whichever path we may take, it should always start on something. We should start on something and we will finish it until the end, no? So, yun lang daw kasi yung pwede, no? Dapat meron tayong sinimulan bago tayo makarating dun sa finish line, okay? So, yan po, no? So, sa ating Java for week 2, week 3, mga minamahal kong viewers for today, no? So, we are going to discuss the if and if-else structure in Java programming, okay? So, okay, alam naman natin, no? So, when we are doing a program, hindi naman po yan uupo ka lang at makakaisip ka na kaagad, no? So, hindi lang po uupo ka lang sa keyboard mo at magtata-type ka na. Okay? So, we need to plan. Okay? So, there are certain tools that a programmer is using para makatulong sa kanya magplano kung ano ba yung mga portions na gagawin niya in his or her program. So, yan po dapat muna yung ating gawin, no? So, dapat alam natin to paano, kasi dito nag-i-start, no? So, dito nag-i-start ang lahat. So, we should know how to do or how to create a pseudocode. So, ano ba yung pseudocode na yan? Okay, so, pseudo, no? Coming from the word pseudo and word na code, no? So, yan, no? So, it's actually a tool that helps programmer plan a program's logic, no? So, program's logic. So, ibig sabihin, hindi siya yung talagang actual na coding language, no? Hindi yan yung Java, hindi yan yung Python, hindi yan yung C++, no? So, it actually is just a actual coding language, no? So English-like, no? So it cannot be compiled. So hindi po natin ito pwedeng i-compiled. Hindi po rin natin siya pwedeng i-run like a regular program, no? So most of the companies, no, are actually using pseudocode syntax, no? So and every programming language has its own syntax na tinatawag. So when you say syntax, it's a set of rules on how are you going to use and organize the statements. So, meron bang semicolon, meron bang open and close parentheses, meron bang double quotes, no? So, yan po, no? May syntax. So, ganun din ang pseudocode. Okay? Okay, so mag-practice tayo. Okay, so ano ba yung mga steps on how are we going to create our own pseudocode? So, first step, kailangan alam natin ano ba yung gagawin natin. Okay, so for example, walk across a room, find the difference between two numbers. Ano yung ating objective? Ano yung gusto nating gawin? What is our goal? So, dapat yun yung alam natin in writing our own pseudocode. So, first step, choose a task. No? So, we have, for example, determine if a number is even or odd. Okay, so that's a task. Okay. Find the difference between numbers. That's a task. No? So, kailangan alam muna natin ano yung ating goal, ano yung ating objective, ano yung kailangan nating gawin. No? Simply to say, ano yung kailangan nating gawin? What is it that we need to accomplish? So, that's step 1 in doing our own pseudocode. So, okay. Second step, okay, so in doing our pseudocode, no, okay, you have to write, no, so the pseudocode already. So remember, there are 4 guidelines, no, so there are 4 guidelines in doing the pseudocode. Okay, so ano yung first na guideline? Okay, so kailangan daw the language should be universal. So hindi pwedeng Indian language, hindi pwedeng Arabic language, no? So dahil ang universal language natin is English, so it has to be in English. And then we have to limit each line to 1 task, no? So each line, 1 task lang or 1 action. Okay, and then we have to indent loops, no? So kung merong mga if-then statements, we have to indent it. Okay, so and then we should not forget, no, to start with start program and end with end program. So, ganun ang pseudocode. Meron siyang start, and then sa beginning, and then merong end program. So, let me give you an example. Okay, so, paano gagawin ang pseudocode on how to convert? Okay, so that's our task. To convert the length in feet to centimeter. So, paano ba mag-convert ng length in feet to centimeter? Okay? So, input, so first, we have to input the length in feet. No? So, kasi feet no? And then, second step, we have to calculate the length in centimeter by multiplying the length in feet with 30. Bakit 30? Kasi, ang 1 centimeter, no? There is actually 30 centimeter in 1 feet, no? So, para i-convert, no? So, print length in centimeter. So, yan yung ating pseudocode para dyan. Okay? Okay, so paano naman daw ang pseudocode when we want to read the 2 sides of a rectangle and calculate its area? So, ano yung pseudocode yan? Paano? Okay? So, ano yung ating first step? So, start, okay? And then, input the width, okay, and length. So, kailangan natin, we need ma-input natin yung width and the length of our rectangle. Okay, so, diba, rectangle, okay? So, meron yung width, no? So, yung kapal, okay? And then, we have the length, okay? So, paano natin makakalculate yung area, okay? Remember, the formula in computing, no, the area of a rectangle is we have to get the 2 sides of the rectangle, the width and the length. Okay, so and then we will multiply it, no? So we will multiply the area, no? So yung ating yung length with the width. So length times width, no? So yan. So bakit A? Kasi yun yung ating variable, yun yung ginamit natin for the area of the rectangle. So, A is equivalent to the length times the width. No? So, print A. No? So, ito yung gagawin niya. Okay? So, that's the pseudocode. So, every time we have a program to make or we have a task to do, okay, let us first do a pseudocode para alam natin ano yung mga step-by-step procedure on how to accomplish the task. So, mas madali kasing mag-program when we are clear on what are we going to do or what are the steps that are involved in doing the task. Okay? Okay, so next tool, no? So, aside from pseudocode, meron pa tayong ginagamit na tool that helps programmer in putting into actions yung kanilang plano, no, about the program. Okay. This is the so-called flowchart. Okay. So what is a flowchart? No? A flowchart, it's actually just a diagram, no, that emphasizes the individual steps and their interconnection. So, may makikita tayo dyan ng mga different symbols, no? So, meron yang mga symbols. Okay? So, meron actually 8 symbols that we are actually using, no? So, meron tayong okay, so lahat ng boxes, no, lahat ng symbols na ginagamit are actually connected with the so-called flow lines. No? So meron lahat ang symbols ng flowchart with an entry point on the top of the symbol with no other entry points. The exit point for all flowchart symbols is on the bottom except for the decision symbol. Okay. So generally from top to bottom po yung flowchart. No? So hindi siya from bottom to top. Okay? So you usually read a flowchart from top to bottom. Okay? So this is an example. No? But before that, okay, so meron tayong, ito pa, no? So meron pa tayong ibang rules, no? We have to use connectors to connect from top to bottom. So there are instances na from the top diretso na sa bottom, no? So ano na agad, ending na agad, no? End na kaagad. Okay, pwede 'yon. Okay, pwede nating i-connect yung top to bottom kaagad. And then meron tayong mga tinatawag na subroutines and interrupt programs na tinatawag, no? Okay, so yung mga subroutines, ito yung mga method, no? So sa Java, ito yung ating mga method. Okay, so we may create, or yung mga functions na kini-create natin. Okay, we may create subroutines and interrupt programs and have their own and independent flowchart, no? So pwede po 'yon. So all flowcharts start with a terminal or predefined process. Okay? So meron din pong symbols na ginagamit. So kung ang pseudocode ay may English-like, okay, si flowchart naman are actually using symbols, no? So it actually end with a terminal or a continuous loop, no? Contentious loop, okay? Okay, so these are the different symbols that we are using in creating our flowchart, no? So we have the terminal, okay? So it begin and end. So yung ating flowchart, it actually begin and end with this symbol. So yung ating start at saka end. So ganito yung makikita natin. Okay, so yung initialization, ito yung ating mga variables, no? So variable declaration natin, part and initial values. Okay, yung ating mga integer n is equal to 0. So that's initialization. Okay, yung ating data types, no? So yan yung mga yan, no? Data types and the variable names. Diyan natin nilalagay sa symbol na yan. Okay, and then we have the so-called process sa flowchart, no? So process is actually just a rectangle. Okay, so ang symbol niya is rectangle. Okay, so formula and defined process are placed. So kung meron tayong mga formula, like for example, area is equal to length times width. So dyan natin ilalagay. So anything that has something to do with formula, process, dyan natin ilalagay sa symbol na yan. Okay? Okay, and then we have, eto na, no? Ito yung ating tatalakayin for today, no? So yung main topic natin, no? So yung ating if and else, no? So sa flowchart, meron tayong tinatawag na decision. Okay? So ito yung ating if and else, no? So ito yung katumbas ng if and else. Okay? So meron tayong sa if and else, pwedeng magkaroon ng condition. So there are conditions and logical expression. Like for example, if the age is equal or greater than 18. So that is a condition. So if we have those conditions, so ilalagay natin siya sa diamond symbol, no? So diamond ang gagamitin natin whenever there is something that we need to decide, no? So for example, nag-overtime ba o hindi? Okay? So answerable by yes or no. Okay? For example, vaccinated ba o hindi? Yes or no. Okay? So if it is answerable by yes or no, and we need conditions, certain condition, ilalagay natin siya sa diamond symbol. Okay? So when we are using flowchart. Okay? And then, ito yung sinasabi ko kanina, no? We need this flow line. So to connect each of these symbols, you need this so-called flow lines. Okay? So it's just a line with an arrow. Okay? Yung arrow niya kung saan patungo. Okay? So, and then ito yung tinatawag nating on-page connector. So within the page, kung mahaba-haba na, umabot na sa dulo, okay, gusto natin ilipat siya sa kabila, no? We will use the on page. Kung on the same page, i-connect lang natin. Okay. Pag naman doon sa kabila ng page, no, off-page connector ang tawag doon. Okay? Okay, so this is an example, no? Okay, so this is an example of a flow chart to convert the length in feet to centimeter. Okay, so we have the start, no? So ito yung ating kaninang symbol to start yung ating oval, no? Okay? And then we have the predefined process. Okay? So we will input the length in feet. Okay? So what is the length in feet? Okay? So dahil meron tayong predefined process, so anything that has something to do with formula, dito natin siya ilalagay. Okay? So length in centimeter is equivalent to length in feet multiplied by 30. And then, okay, so anything, any action that we need to undertake, okay? So print length in centimeter. Okay, so since ang 1 centimeter, no, is equivalent, ang 1 feet is equivalent to 30 centimeter. So ito siya. So i-multiply natin by 30. Okay, so we have the start and we have to terminate it with the stop, no? So ganyan din ang program. Kung nag-start ka, we have to end it. No? So ganyan ang flowchart. So another example, okay? So a flow chart that will read the two sides of rectangle and calculate its area. Okay? So ito yung kanina na ginawa natin sa Pseudocode. Okay? So paano yan? Okay, so start, no? So we have the predefined process, no? Input the width and the length. And then yung ating formula, area is equivalent to the length times the width. And then we get the A, which is the process na after we multiply the length and the width. And then we terminate. Okay? So, simple as that. Yan. Okay. So, ito na. Dito na tayo. So, sa ating main. So, pinasadahan ko lang yan para at least, no, we have a, we know exactly kung paano gawin. No? So, ano ba yung dapat natin unang gawin. So, we may opt to use Pseudocode. We may opt to use flowchart to start with. No? So, kung nahihirapan tayong mag-analyze, mag-conceptualize ng ating gagawing program, might as well start with Pseudocode or flowchart. Okay, so, dito na tayo. No? So, conditional statements. So, ang if and else ay actually isang conditional statement. So when you say conditional statement, there are certain conditions, no? So before you can accomplish one thing, meron mang mga condition. Like for example, are you 18? Okay? So paano mo ma-check kung ang ibinigay na age ng bata is 18? So kung paano natin malalaman if he or she is a legal age na? Okay? So may mga tinatawag tayong conditional statements. So this allow a program to take action. So meron munang condition bago mangyari yung isang action. Okay? So condition and then action. Okay? So kung walang condition, walang action. Okay? So usually then, ang conditional statements na sinasabi, it actually compares two values. Like for example, if age is equal or greater to 18. So, yung age, so that's one value. And then, yung age, yung mismo kung saan natin siya kino-compare. So, two values. Okay? So, we may opt to decide ano yung kailangan nating action. So, ano naman kung 18 years old na siya. Okay? So, meron tayong, lahat tayo, we may opt to decide on something. Okay? We may opt to be given certain conditions. No? Kaya nga kanina, yung aking motivation is, what path should we take? No? So maraming conditions if we will take this path, if we will take this path. Okay? So, kasi merong mga certain conditions. Marami tayo niyan sa buhay, no? So, sa programming, okay, to test these conditions, we will use, no? Na-discuss na natin to actually, okay? We will use to compare, no? So, to compare these values, no? So, meron tayong two values. We will use the symbol, yung tinatawag nating mga relational operators. Okay? So, as we said before, no? So, in the past, so meron tayong different symbols for our relational operator, no? To test certain conditions. Okay? Ayan. Ayan po. So, equals. Okay? Not equals. So, pag equals, double equal, no? Iba kasi yung equals lang sa double equal, okay? Not equal, meron tayong not, okay? So, ang not is exclamation point, no? Equals, okay? So, ito yung syntax niyan, x not equal to y. So, yung x and the y are our expression, okay? So, ito yung ating dalawang variable na kino-compare. Okay? So, kino-compare natin yung two values, the x and the y. Okay? So, greater than, we use the symbol greater than. Okay? So, to compare x, two values, x is greater than y. Greater than or equal to. Okay? So, x is greater than or equal to y. Okay? Less than. Okay? Kapag kasi hindi mo nilagyan ng equals, no? So, for example, if age is greater than or equal to 18, pag hindi mo siya nilagyan ng equal to 18, ang i-check niya dyan simula 19. Okay? 19 na kaagad siya. Unlike kung ilagay mo is greater than or equal, i-check niya pati yung 18. Okay? So, yun yung kaibahan po niya. Okay. So, we have the syntax. So, let's go to our IntelliJ. Okay? So, ito po yung aking example. No? So, ayan. Okay, so punta po ako sa aking IntelliJ. Ayan. Okay, nakikita po ba? Ayan. Okay, so I have here my first code. No? So I have imported yung ating package na util kasi I want the user to input an age. Okay, so magpapa-input ako kaya ginamit ko yung scanner. Okay, so import java.util.scanner. Okay, and then so inilagay ko siya sa keyboard. Okay, so nilagay ko siya sa variable na keyboard. So whatever age na pinasok ng user is malalagay sa variable na keyboard. Okay, and then ito na, no? So, ito yung makikita nyo sa screen. Enter your age. Okay? So, papa-enter ko siya ng age. So, ang ating data type dyan is integer. Okay? So, this is the conditional statement. So, this is the if structure. So, if pa lang tayo, no? Wala pa tong else. Okay? So, dito, hindi ko na siya nilagyan ng else. Okay? So, just to check if the age is already the age for a voter. Okay? So, dahil panahon ng kampanya, no? So, I opt to use this age. Okay? So, ito po yung ating syntax, no? So, if, the word if, no? So, yan atin yung reserve word. Okay? And then, we have the two values to compare, the age, okay? The age, and then, we will check if it is 18. So, yung ating age na ipapasok, and then, i-compare natin if it is 18. So, that's the two values. Using the relational operator. So, ito yung kanina sinasabi ko, greater than or equal. So, hindi ko pwedeng gamitin yung equal lang kasi 18 lang ang ma-check doon. Okay, I want to check if it is 18 and above. So, start from 18 and above. Okay? So, every time you use the if statement in Java programming, okay, so ang syntax is if, okay, yung ating condition, okay, so yung ating conditions. So we will compare two values and then ilalagay natin yan, yung ating condition sa open and close parentheses. So we have the open parentheses and we have the close parentheses. And then we have the opening bracket. Okay, so lagi po yan. So right after the if statement, no, so after the condition, we will have, ang tawag natin dito is code block. Okay, so bakit code block? Kasi inilagay natin siya sa isang loob ng brace. Okay, so an open brace. Okay, okay, so meron tayong open brace dito and then kinlose natin siya sa closed brace. So meron tayong mga gagawin. Okay, so this one, ang i-check lang niya, if the age is greater than or equal to 18, anong gagawin niya? Ipiprint na niya ang you are a voter. Okay, so yun lang ang i-check niya. Wala siyang gagawin kung ang age niya is not greater than or equal to 18. Okay, so kung 17 pababa ang i-enter, walang gagawin. Wala kang makikita sa screen. Unlike kung ang pinasok na number is starting from 18 and above. So let us try it. Let's try it. Okay, so run ko. Okay, so it's building. Okay, so ayan, si ma'am, si Tutor Joy. Thank you po, Tutor Joy. Lodi talaga si ma'am. Ayan. Habang shout out po sa aking mga co-workers, no, and fellow co-teachers sa Paggalanggang National High School SDO Bataan po, no? Kay Ma'am Ara, kay Dr. Velasco, kay Sir Cha, and yung aking mga co-faculty sa senior high school ng Paggalanggang. Yan, no? So nagbe-build pa siya. Okay. Thank you po, Teacher Joy. Thank you po sa ating si Tutor Joy. Okay, sa pag-assist po today. Yan. Ayan. So, nasa na siya? Nag-print na ba? Nag-loading ba siya? Ayun. Nag-loading pa siya. Ayan. Ay, hindi pa. Hindi. Ibayin natin niya. Okay, so yan po, no? Execute na siya. Ay, wala kasi yung delete muna natin itong isconor. Okay, delete ko muna po ito, delete muna natin siya. Para hindi siya hanapin. Okay. Is voter. Okay, so run natin ulit. Okay, so kanina po kasi gumagawa ko ng mga iba-ibang if statement. Okay, so ayan na. Dapat makikita po natin dyan. Enter your age. Okay, paki-enter nyo po sa comment box yung inyong age para makita natin kung voter nga kayo o hindi. Ayan, no? So ito na. Okay, so here's our output. Nakikita po ba? Enter your age. So if I enter, for example, 21. Ano dapat ang makikita ko dyan? You are a voter. Yes, you are a voter. Okay, so run natin siya ulit. What if ni-run naman natin ay, no? So that is So, kahit 120 pa ang ilagay mo dyan, basta it's greater than or equal to 18, ang dapat makita dyan na output is you are a voter. Yan. Ito na, no? So, enter your age. So, if I enter 17, okay, so what will happen? Nothing will happen. Okay? So, ipaprocess lang yan. So, kasi wala tayong ginawang else. Okay? So, if statement pa lang po yan. Okay? So, later on, we will be doing the else. So, if, else. So, if pa lang, kumbaga, diretso lang tayo. No? So, isa lang. Chinek lang natin if it is greater than or equal to 18, if lagyan mo lang ako ng message na you are a voter. Kung hindi siya voter, wala akong pakialam. Yan. So, parang gano'n ang sinasabi, no? Okay? So, ipaprocess lang po niya, i-end na niya yung program. Kasi wala po tayong nilagay na else. Okay? So, let's go now to yung may else. Ayan. So, kung sabik na kayong makita yung else, so, punta tayo dito. Okay? So, all of us, in one way or another, ay magiging, pag sumusweldo, meron tayong oras na dapat ipasok. Mayroon tayong number of hours work per week, no? Ay meron din tayong regular pay at meron din tayong overtime pay. Okay? So, tingnan natin. Okay? So, ano yung dahil magpapa-input ako sa user, okay, I will be importing the java.util.scanner. Okay, so dito sa aking class, so may ipapasa akong parameter na regular pay. No? So, papa-enter ko magkano ba ang sinusweldo mo, ang regular pay mo in a week. Okay? And then, ito yung rate. Okay, so rate. And then, ang data type ko is double kasi mas mataas. No? So, at merong decimal. Okay? So, regular pay, overtime pay, and then, yung aking final, anong ibig sabihin ng final dyan? So, ibig sabihin, hindi siya pwedeng ma-edit. No? It's final. Okay? So, yun lang siya, 40. So, yung full week is 40 hours. Bakit 40 hours? Because we have 8 hours in a 8 hours in a daytime nagtatrabaho. And then we have 5 days in a week. So, that's 40. So, finix ko siya na 40. Okay. And then, ang overtime rate is 1.5 hours, no? 1.5. And then, ito, so, enter ko na yung kanyang how many hours did you work this week, no? So, kung ilalagay ko yan sa variable na hours work. Okay, so, and then, papa-enter ko sa'yo, what is your regular pay rate, no? Okay, so, kung ang regular pay rate mo ay in-enter, no? So, saan siya malalagay? Malalagay yan sa variable na rate. Okay? So, that's how we save. No? So, from the input, no? So, ito kasi, di ba, what is your regular pay rate? Okay? Para makuha natin yung pinasok, no? Doon sa keyboard, no? So, yung keyboard, ito yung ating in-instantiate na object, no? Keyboard is equal to new scanner system.in, no? So, kaya keyboard.next double. So, kinuha natin yung data type na pina-enter natin na in-initialize natin as double. Okay, so next double. Okay, so laging ganun yon, next double. Okay, kasi double yung ating data type. No? So, kung integer yan, next int ang lalagay natin dyan. Okay? So, ito na po siya. So, we have the rate. No? So, this is the part na sinasabi ko. So, kung kanina, if statement lang, for now, meron tayong if-else. Okay? So, sabi natin sa syntax ng ating conditional statement, we have the word if, and then we have the conditional statement. Okay? So, ito yung ating two expression that we will check. No? So, hours work and the full week. Okay? So, we will check if the hours work is greater than full week. Okay? So, kung ang ipinasok is, chine-check natin if the hours work is greater than 40 kasi nakadeclare natin as full week yung 40. Di po ba? Yan. Okay, so ang magiging regular pay, no, kapag ang pinasok niya is greater than, no, 40, greater than 40. So ibig sabihin, kung 41, 42, 43 and above, no? So lahat 'yon basta greater than 40. So mag-start. Kasi nilagay natin dito greater than. So pero kung nilagyan ko yan ng greater than or equal, so i-start yan sa 40. Okay? So but I want just greater than. So 41, kasi regular pa yung 40, no? Okay, so that's still regular. So I want to check if it is 41, 42, 43, 44, and above. Okay? So paano yan? So yung magiging regular pay niya ay is equivalent to the full week times the rate. Okay? So kung ang 40 siya, so 40 multiplied kung ang rate niya is, for example, is magkano ba per day? So, for example, 1,000 per day. Okay, so 40 times 1,000, so that is equivalent to 40,000 in a week. Diba? Okay. And then, so kung lumagpas, no? Kung lumagpas, meron siyang overtime pay na ma-minus natin, no? So, hours work minus the full week. Okay, so, paano yan? Okay, so, for example, 45 ang pinasok, no? 45 hours. So, 45 hours minus the full week, which is 40. So, 45 minus 40. Okay, so, that will be 5 hours, di ba? Okay, i-multiply natin yan doon sa OT rate na tinatawag, no? So, magkano ba yung OT rate? Wala pa tayong nilagay. Okay, so that is 1.5. Okay? So, i-multiply natin, we will get the 1.5% of the sa rate niya. So, kung ang rate niya is 1,000, no? Kung ang inilagay natin is 1,000, i-multiply natin yan sa times 1.5, no? Tapos, i-multiply natin doon sa number of hours. Okay po? So, paano yan? Okay, so let's do it. Okay, so else, no? So, kung regular pay naman, no? So, automatic yan. We will just multiply, no? So, ito yung else, no? So, ito pag true yung condition. Yung else, ibig sabihin dyan, so, dito, after the if statement, it will always and will always be true. Okay? Yung statement dito will always and always be true. Yung nasa else is actually the false. Okay? So, ito po yan. Okay? So, one code block tayo dito. Okay? So, and then, dun sa else, one code block po tayo dyan. Okay? So, anong ibig sabihin ng one code block? One curly brace tayo. So, may opening curly brace tayo and then closing curly brace. So, dun sa ating if, meron tayong another code block. Ay, meron tayong opening curly brace and then meron tayong closing curly brace. Okay? So, yan po. So, kung hindi siya nag-overtime, 40 lang, no? Ang pinasok niya. 40 pababa ang pinasok niyang hours per week. We will just, ang regular pay lang po yun. So, walang overtime. Bakit? Kasi, hindi nga siya greater than 40. Okay? So, ang magiging overtime pay niya is 0.0. Okay, 0. Okay, so yan po yan. So, yan. So, magkakaroon ng laman yung ating regular pay, no? And then magkakaroon ng laman yung overtime pay. Whether may lumagpas sa 40 or lumagpas sa hindi lumagpas sa 40. Okay? So, pagka hindi lumagpas sa 40, ang overtime pay niya is 0. Okay? Pag lumagpas sa 40, ito yung i-compute niya. Okay? I-compute niya yung overtime pay. Okay? So, ang magiging sweldo niya is regular pay plus the overtime. Okay? So, pero hindi na natin siya, dito, in this case, hindi na natin siya inad, but pinakita natin how much will be the regular pay and how much will be the overtime pay. Okay? So, let's do it. Let's run. Okay, so habang nag-run, okay, merong mga Ayan. Ayan po. No? So, magbibuild na po yan. Ayan. Okay, shout out din po sa mga estudyante ko ng CSS sa Pagalanga, National High School. Okay, yung aking class president, si Nina, yung aking vice president, si Noemi, no? Yung aking sila Carlos, yung Nalastas, at yan, mga batang yan. Thank you sa pagpunta yung ating orientation para sa JDVP. Ayan, no? So ito na. Okay, so here's our output. Okay, so how many hours did you work this week? Okay, so for example, I have worked 45 hours. Okay, so what is your regular pay rate? So for example, I have 1,000 pesos. So sumweldo, ang regular pay ko is 40,000 and then I will have an overtime pay of 7,500. So ang susweldohin ko, no? For sa isang week ay magiging 47,500 kasi I have regular pay of 40,000 and I have a overtime pay of 7,500. Ayan po, okay? So, may question po ba? Ayan. Comment out kung may question. Ayan. So, dito po siya, nakuha po yan, no? So, paano po nakuha yung 7,500? Okay? So, dito po siya kinumpute, no? Okay, so overtime pay, so hours work, no? So, kung ang hours work natin is 45, so that's 45 minus 40. So, that is 5. 5 times the OT rate na 1,000 times the rate, no? So, times 1.5. Okay? So, kaya naging 7,500 po yan. So, yan. Okay? So, try naman natin kung sakto lang. Okay? Walang overtime. Okay? So, kung sakto, no? So, 40 hours lang. So, yun po yung trabaho ng if-else structure, no? So, parehas po halos yan in all of the different programming languages. So, tandaan po natin, pag if, meron pong condition, no? So, meron tayong two expression, two values na kino-compare. No? So, ito na siya. So, how many hours did you work this week? So, for example, 40. Okay? What is your regular pay? So, for example, 500. Ano? So, ang sweldo ko for that week is 20,000. No? At wala akong overtime pay. Dahil, no? So, 40 lang yung ating hours work, no? So, hindi ako nag-exceed ng greater than 40, no? So, kaya ganun pa rin siya. So, pero kung inilagay ko dito ay greater than or equal to 40, pasok yung 40. No? So, magta-times 1.5 pa siya sa 500. Okay po? Ayan. So, yan po yung ating if-else structure. So, tandaan po natin, after the if, yung condition, yung kanyang code block, dahil true lagi yung after the if, no? True lagi po iyan. Kung ano man po yung condition, yung action natin, if it is true, isunod po natin kaagad. Okay, so kung else, no? So, ibig sabihin doon sa else, yung kung false, yung ating condition, no? Na tinetest. So, kung false, so doon po natin ilagay, doon sa code block after the else. No? So, doon po natin ilagay yung ating actions. No? So, we have condition and we have action. So, that's the if and else. You have to check certain condition, no? And then, there must be an action. So, what are you going to do if it is true? What are you going to do if it is false? Okay, so balik po tayo sa ating PowerPoint. Okay, yan. No? So, to have a recap, okay, Pseudocode describes processes using natural language. No? So, pag flowchart, it creates a meaningful representation of the program's processes. So, gumagamit tayo ng mga symbols. We have actually 8 symbols to use. That is including yung ating pinaka-importante doon, yung to check yung sa if-else, yung diamond symbol. Okay? So, the diamond symbol, check conditions if it is true or false. No? So, is the age greater than or equal to 18? Overtime ba o hindi? Umabot ba ng 40 hours? So, that's the decision. So, always, lagi po yan nasa diamond symbol. Okay? So, you can use the if statement to make decision based on the Boolean expression that evaluates as true or false. So, if the Boolean expression enclosed in parentheses with an if statement is true, the subsequent statement or block executes. So, yun yung sinasabi ko po kanina. After the if, dahil it will always and always be true, kasunod na po dyan yung mga statement that you're going to execute. Yan. Yan. So, for next week, so we will have the loops and functions. So, but before that, let us have a short quiz, a review question. So, yeah. Okay, number 1, the logical structure in which one instruction occurs after another with no branching is A, sequence, B, selection, C, loop, or D, is it a case? So, logical structure in which one instruction occurs after another with no branching. So, walang branching, no? So, walang if-else na tinatawag, no? So, ano po ang tawag dyan? So, that is, the answer is A, no? So, sequence, no? So, sagot po dyan, sequence. So, kung no branching, no? Ang tawag po natin dyan, sequence. Hindi pwede yung maging loop, hindi pwede yung maging case, hindi pwede yung mag-selection kasi nga, no branching. Okay? Okay, next question. Which of the following is typically used in a flowchart to indicate a decision? Okay, so sa flowchart symbol, which symbol po ang ginagamit to indicate a decision? Letter A, square, B, rectangle, C, diamond, or D, is it oval? Okay, so ano po kaya yung makasagot nila? Meron po ba? Check natin. Ayan. Okay, next. So what is the answer? Answer is diamond. Okay, so remember that we are using the diamond to indicate a decision. Okay po. Next question. Okay, so let us write. Ayan. Write a pseudocode to add 2 numbers, then display the result. So, what if we are asked to create a pseudocode or to write a pseudocode to add 2 numbers? Paano pong gagawin natin? Okay, so, syempre, we have the start program, enter 2 numbers, and then, ano yung variable? Saan natin ilalagay yung 2 numbers? So, represented by A and B, and then we will add the numbers together. Okay? So, para lang po yung sa elementary na sinasabi ni ma'am. So, anong gagawin pag mag-addition? Okay, so, they represent sa kanila po kasi is and, ang output. And is equal to the first number plus the second number. So, that's it. So, pero pwede namang maiba yan. Depende po sa atin. So, basta English like, pwede naman ang nakalagay dyan. Input first number. Input second number. Okay, so select a process or select an operator. Pwede pong gano'n. But this, sa akin po, ang nilagay ko is add the numbers together. Okay, so, and then print sum, and then make sure you end the program. So, laging may start, laging may end pag pseudocode. English like po siya. Ayan, so dito naman po tayo. So, true or false? In a Java statement, the keyword if is followed by a Boolean expression within a parenthesis. Is it true or false? Answer is, syempre, true, no? So, lagi po nating tatandaan yan that it is followed by a Boolean expression. So, true or false. Kaya ginagamitan natin ang mga relational operators, greater than, equal, not equal to, less than or equal to. So, yan. So, gagamitan po natin yan. Okay, let's get ready. Imagine, start creating our own Java code. Mga coder ka-tech quiz. So, if you don't have any more questions, Okay, so sabi nga, okay, so yung ating quote for today, no? Sabi po dyan is, if coding, no? So coding, so this is the condition. So this is the true or false. Is it true? Kung true, laging may headphone. Ayan, so tayo po as programmer, lagi tayong may headphone. Ayan. Okay, and then kailangan ang focus natin is 100% at wag muna po tayong makikipagkwentuhan. So, conversation is equal to null. Ayan. So, tandaan po natin yan. So, this is a block. One code block. No? So, nawala lang yung aking closing brace. No? Dapat yung closing brace po yan. Ayan. So, for references, okay, yan po, no? So, lagi niyo po kami subaybayan. Kami po nila Tutor Pau para sa HTML, si Tutor Aldrin po para sa CSS 11, and then si Tutor Lon po para sa ating Computer System Servicing for Grade 12. At ako po, ang inyong lingkod, si Tutor Bell po para sa Java Programming. Ayan. So, para po sa mga feedback, no? Lagi po natin tandaan, no? So, pwede nyo pong i-scan yung ating QR code na nakikita nyo po on your screen. So, or bisitahin po itong link na to, this URL link, to post your comments and suggestions. Ayan. So, muli po, maraming salamat po sa pagtangkilik sa aming e-online tutorial. No? Live po tayo sa YouTube at sa Facebook. Ayan. So, see you again po, mga ka-Techwiz. Bye-bye! Thank you! This is Tutor Bell signing off. Thank you!
Ang husay naman! Natapos mo ang iyong tutorial session kasama ang iyong mahusay na ETUlay tutor. May bago ka bang natutuhan? I-share na yan gamit ang hashtag #ETUlayLevelUp. Huwag aalis ha, dahil may susunod pang programa na pwede mo ring panoorin at salihan. Dahil naghihintay na ang iyong mga tutors. Happy learning dito sa ETUlay!